Mike Bohn here in London at the conclusion of UFC Fight Night 204 Media Day here with Petesy, Carroll of the Ringer MMA show and MMA On Point, man. We just finished up talking to 14 fighters over the course of I don't even know how many hours. It was a long morning, afternoon. Let's start with the main event. We saw Alexander Volkov come here and kind of talk about the journey he had coming to this fight, and then Tom Aspinall, who seems very happy to be here. What did you just think of the two headliners coming into this bout, which is very critical for both of them, I think?
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge moment for Aspinall. A lot of people in the UK have been very excited about this guy for a long time. Interestingly, like, he had already made a name for himself as an MMA fighter, and then he went off to do pro boxing. He re-emerges with Cage Warriors, and it's just been off to the races since then. I think you guys across the water have even noticed, you know, how this skill set could lead to a championship challenger. But Volkov is without a doubt the toughest fight of his life. And one thing I noticed from Aspinall, I think he was very candid. He was speaking about like how he just needs to take this moment by moment, because this is a huge moment for him. He's not shying away from that in the slightest. But I will say Volkov looked pretty gangster for a guy who's been through the travel situation he has with obviously Russian restrictions going into the UK. He tells he had to travel for 24 hours solid. But he does seem all business. Like when I see them both up there, it kind of hits home to me how much of a challenging fight this is going to be for Aspinall. And of course, with the Verdun fight in the past, Volkov is very well known to have a big night in London.
Yeah, and he's a 6 UFC headliner. I think he's 2-3. So like he's had the ups and downs, but he's been in the spot much more comfortable here than Tom Aspinall. So I'm curious to see how that ultimately unfolds. And in the co-main event, we got to look at Dan Hooker about 48 hours from stepping on the scale for his return to featherweight after about like 5 years or something like that. And then Arnold Allen, who had little to nothing to say really. He didn't have to give us much in terms of the answers and stuff like that. But I think for Dan, he's the one that we probably focus a little more on, just because we want to know, you know, what he was saying, how he looked. Any takeaways from Dan from the physical to what he actually said?
Yeah, I mean, he looked very fresh. He looked a lot fresher than I imagined him to. I mean, this has been something talked about since he went to lightweight, and so like when he's going back down, you're kind of going, how is this going to go? I thought he looked really fresh. And one thing I noticed when they faced off is the height difference is serious. You know what I mean? It's a very considerable height difference. But Arnold's been asking for an opportunity like this for so long, and so have the UK fans. Have been kind of saying like, why isn't this guy getting the opportunity? Here it is. Like this, you can't ask for more than this. A co-main event slot against a well-known fighter like Hooker. If he delivers the goods here on Saturday, he's off to the races as well, just like Aspinall is. So I think that's the big story for me. There's so many UK fighters in these pivotal moments, and I feel like the fan base has been stimulated by these group of fighters in a way that we haven't seen before. So I really feel as though a big night for the UK here could do huge things for the perception of MMA in this neck of the woods, and for the fan base, because as Paul Craig said, they already have a few events booked. That does not mean they have to do every single one of them, but the fact that they could be back and doing all these things here throughout next year, not just the London card, I think that's massive.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the actual like fan reception is going to be like at ceremonial weigh-ins and fight nights and stuff, but it seems like the vibe here is pretty strong and the fighters are like so excited. And one person who was pretty excited to talk to us was Paddy Pimblett, and I think we're kind of copping his haircut right now. He threw some wigs out into the crowd. I don't know if you guys noticed.
This is my look.
This is actually both of our natural hair, if you guys could tell. But Paddy Pimblett, I mean, I think kind of the rock star of this card in terms of his rising star. He's getting into altercations in the hotel lobby and stuff like that with Ilya Topuria. To me, he's kind of on his way to stealing the show on Saturday, and you know, he had a long interview here. Obviously, Kazula Vargas says the stuff he's going to say, says he's overrated, holds in his game, what you would expect against a heavily hyped guy like that. But Paddy seems to be locked in pretty well, and a great haircut.
Yeah, obviously one of the best haircuts in the game. But I think the thing with Paddy is, this moment has been spoken about since 2014, like him having the homecoming fight in UFC London. And I think the benefit he's had from his Cage Warriors run was, I know maybe not in the US, but in the UK this guy was famous when he was 19, 20. And as he said to us earlier, when you're that kind of famous, people are coming at you all over the place. Like in Liverpool, he was nearly an iconic figure before he's 21. So to have that experience of having all that expectation, to have had the big highs, to have had the big lows, he needs to go in here and do the business. He needs to go in here and give a huge show, and he needs to underline why everyone's so big on him. And I think with someone like Vargas, with the greatest respect to Vargas, it's not like a Dan Hooker. It's not like a Volkov, where we all know this guy's resume inside out. We know what kind of threats he brings to the table. That for me ramps up the pressure on Paddy a bit, because if he went in and lost to a guy that not a lot of people know about, that doesn't look good. So he really needs to deliver, and I think he rises to the occasion usually anyway. So I'm expecting it to be fireworks from his entrance all the way through. And I do think it's going to be one of the big storylines we'll be talking about. And his beautiful hair.
Yeah, such beautiful hair. I can't even get over it. And if he's smart, like obviously we're wearing wigs that Paddy Pimblett threw to us during media day. If he's smart, he should be manufacturing these en masse and having people hand them out outside the arena and things like that. I mean, imagine you walked into the O2 and there's just hundreds of people wearing these. This seems like the right play for me.
Look at the fit, guys. I mean, it's all over. It's well rounded. Every way you look at it, it's fantastic.
It's beautiful. You can put it on forwards, backwards. It works either way. I mean, it's great fashion. But we'll wrap it up there. We'll be back later in the week with more videos. Keep the coverage locked to MMAJunkie.com and follow Petesy on the various outlets and content he'll be bringing you guys this week as well.